The first image of the man behind the shooting scare at a high-profile White House Correspondents Dinner event has now emerged, and it is raising serious questions about security, timing, and intent. The photo is grainy, but the moment is clear. A shirtless man pinned to the ground, surrounded by heavily armed security personnel. This was not supposed to happen. The incident unfolded at a Hilton hotel where political elites, journalists, and high-profile guests had gathered for one of Washington's most tightly secured events. And yet, somehow, an armed suspect carrying the shotgun got close enough to trigger chaos. According to early reports, the suspect attempted to breach the secure perimeter of the event. Then, gunshots. Panic spread instantly. Guests screamed. Some reportedly shouted, "Get down," as people scrambled for cover. Others hid under tables, unsure if more shots were coming. For a few critical moments, no one knew if this was an isolated threat or something much bigger. Within seconds, Secret Service agents moved in. Dressed in full combat gear, they secured the area and initiated an emergency evacuation protocol. Donald Trump and Melania Trump were immediately rushed out of the venue. The response was fast, controlled, but the damage in terms of fear was already done. This was supposed to be one of the most secure environments in the country. So how did an armed individual get this close? That's the question now driving intense scrutiny. Officials say the suspect acted alone. Trump himself addressed the incident shortly after, calling the attacker a lone wolf and stating clearly that there was no connection to ongoing geopolitical tensions, including any Iran-related conflict. But that explanation is already being questioned because lone wolf or not, this was a breach, a serious one. And breaches like this don't happen in isolation. Security experts are now analyzing how the suspect managed to approach a high security perimeter with a visible weapon. Was it a failure in screening, a gap in coordination, or something more concerning? The released image of the suspect shirtless, restrained, surrounded adds another layer of mystery. Why was he shirtless? What led to that moment? And what exactly happened in the seconds before he was taken down? Authorities have not yet released a full timeline, and that silence is only fueling speculation. Meanwhile, those who were inside the room are describing a scene of confusion and fear. Some believed it was an attack targeting political figures. Others feared a coordinated assault. In reality, officials say it was contained quickly, but perception matters. And for those inside that room, it didn't feel contained. It felt like a direct threat. Now the investigation moves forward. Who was the attacker? What was his motive? And most importantly, how did he get that close? Because if a single armed individual can trigger this level of panic at one of the most secure events in the country, then the real story may not be just about who he was. But what failed? The image is out. The suspect is in custody. But the bigger picture is still unfolding. And until the full truth comes out, this incident will continue to raise one uncomfortable question. Was this just a lone wolf or a warning?